Hey guys, this is Tyler here. Hopefully everyone had a great year 2019. It's January 24th now, and I've been meaning to put this video out now for some time. And that is why I quit drinking alcohol. Or more specifically, why I quit heavy drinking. I will be honest, and I still drink very little now and then, but I never drank excessively. Okay, so I didn't start drinking until I was about 20 years old, or 19. I was one of these, like, we'd say late bloomers here. I never really had a lot of interest in high school, and I was like an athlete, and just, it wasn't my thing, honestly. I didn't hang out with people where they were big into the alcohol and any of that stuff. So, never really had a lot of interest in it, and I tried it a couple times when I went to Europe with my family. The first time I was like 18 years old, and it was right after I finished high school. And I this trip actually in Europe, I never got drunk. I had opportunities to drink. Obviously, I could buy alcohol anywhere, but I didn't drink a whole lot. It was like a few weeks I was gone in the summertime. I was in the Mediterranean on a cruise with my family. This was about 8 or 9 years ago. Now, from that point, when I got back, I just did my thing. I maybe drank like once or twice more with my brother, just in at home or something. Now, when I first started university, I started in Minnesota, and there's a lot of partying, a lot of bars up in Minnesota and USA, but I actually didn't really get too much into it then, and I knew I was going to be leaving the following semester. This was 2012. I was going to be going to South America in 2013. So I got to South America in 2013, and this was around late January here. And in South America, everyone likes to party and go to fiestas and have a good time. So the alcohol is very much tied to the social part, and more so the environment and the people and stuff. So I very quickly after I arrived there, I started drinking more and more, and I got to a point where I was actually drinking about um, uh, 4 or 5 days a week, like binge drinking, heavy drinking, and I did this for um, most of the first year, and then the second year, I started to cut it a bit back, and I was doing it maybe two days a week then, up until I left at the end of 2014. And I went back to America. I went back to Chicago, and I started working, and I still continued drinking, but it was probably maybe a little more than I was drinking that second year in South America, and it was mostly binge drinking. It was still very harmful, of course, and I would like work Monday through Friday, and then do some pretty heavy beer drinking and hard liquor on Saturday, Friday night, maybe Saturday night, definitely, or all of Saturday and sometimes even Sunday. So I did this for a few years in the U.S., and it was pretty rough. Of course, the hangovers are never enjoyable. There were a few times where I tried stopping for a couple months, and I would stop, and I felt really good when I stopped, honestly. But for some nagging reason, it was boredom usually. I'd start drinking a little, and then it would become this binge drinking problem again. And this continued until about 2018, and I had stopped once again at the beginning of 2018. I went from the first until May or June. It was like 5 months, and by May I was totally like fine without alcohol. I didn't need anything. I felt great, but the boredom kind of started creeping up again, and I started once again, and over the course of the summer, I every weekend I would often have kind of my binge drinking day, often Saturday, and this continued. And when autumn came around, or early autumn, I unfortunately had a situation where I went into work intoxicated. Likewise, I had a couple bottles of beer with me, and what ended up happening is that I ended up losing my job here I they actually found the bottles on the job. So this occurred, and there's a zero tolerance policy of drinking on the job in America in most workplaces. So I was first suspended and then terminated. And that once that happened, I was very devastated, and I realized that when I look back, I had other situations. I had a front tooth that I had cracked part of, and I had to have it fixed. I had these very expensive procedures. I broken open my chin from alcohol. I had other issues that were associated that were quite costly, and I realized that a lot of it went back to the alcohol. But more importantly, my emotions and the fluctuations I would experience from being drunk and then the hangovers the next day. Anyone who's done heavy drinking knows how terrible you often feel, that like very high to very low from the hangover. And I just got very tired of this feeling. I didn't like this swing in emotions, and knew it was setting a bad course. By this point, I was 26 years old. And it would just continue if I didn't make some halt or stop to this issue. And I finally realized it was in 2019 when I was in Russia. I really felt something spiritual. I myself am a Christian, and I knew it was time to stop any binge drinking and heavy drinking. I didn't completely stop. Now and then I do have a very small amount. I had a very small amount for New Year's, but nothing that over intoxicates me, which means nothing that would put my blood level, if I were driving, I could still operate a vehicle. And that's the key. And since that point, since last year, I've been good. I've stayed very clean, and it's wonderful, honestly, like not having the effects of alcohol and the hangovers and just the emotional swings and stuff. It feels so wonderful, and I just know internally it was the right thing to do. So for me, it was it came at at a good time, being in my 20s. And if you're having trouble with this, seek help and do what you have to do. Thank you for watching, and have a nice evening.